Hello, budget friends. Thank you so much for clicking on this video. Welcome or welcome back to my channel. I'm Melissa, and we are here to do February's monthly budget. But as a bonus, I'm also going to jump in and look at my paycheck budget forecast for the paychecks that we will be receiving in the month of February. So let's jump in and take a look. So, all right, you guys, for the month of February, we will be receiving two paychecks. So, we get paid on the 14th and we get paid on the 28th. So, the fact that we are only getting our first paycheck on the 14th, we have to use the last paycheck of the month of January to serve as the first paycheck for the month of February. Now, January is our magic month. Our last paycheck should be hitting our account on January 31st. So that's why we're going to be using that as February's first paycheck. Now, before I jump into showing you guys what numbers look like, I'm going to head over to the right here that I have come up with 3 goals for myself for the month of February. So, the first goal I want to do is to save $500. So, I want to set aside out of this money that we're going to talk about $500 to go into savings, and it will be divvied up into our different categories. Now, the second one is to get ahead on one monthly bill. So, if you've seen my January monthly budget, I did go in and tell you guys that I want to get ahead on one monthly bill because ultimately I'm working on becoming 1 month ahead. Not only do I want to pay off debt, but I want to put myself in a good position with money that we are not dependent on credit cards to get through our month. So, we're starting small. I'm working on getting ahead of our electric bill. In the month of January, we are setting aside $37. The month of February, we need to set aside 35. And in the month of March, we need to set aside 35. That's going to put us to $107, which is the amount for our monthly balance bill number. So that's the amount that we pay every month for electric. And then our third goal is to continue the snowball. So I am starting a snowball in 2025. So far, we are down one debt. So we have paid off our Chase, and Chase is going to snowball into our next smallest debt or our next highest interest debt because I am doing the avalanche method. I did decide to go with that because I want to save a lot of interest in 2025. So we're going to continue to roll in our snowball so we could pick up some extra snow along the way. And so let's talk about what our February numbers look like. So for rollover, like I said, that last paycheck of January is going to serve as our first paycheck in February. I have come to the conclusion that my paycheck is going to round out to be $2,377, and I'm going to 77 because that's what it is, along with some cents. But I do budget using round numbers, so we're just going to consider $2,377 plus $1,000 that's going to come from hubby for the last pay period. So our rollover should be $3,377. Now, for my income in February, I do expect two paychecks of 2,377. Let's times this by two. And I do get that SSI benefits every month for $1,375. That's the amount that it's going to be per month for 2025. It does have some cents on the end of it also, but like I said, budget using round numbers. So that's a total of $6,129 even. And for hubby, it's two pay periods in the month of February. So that's $2,000, $1,000 from each pay period. Now, miscellaneous and transfers, I am going to put this in the budget because alongside with our bonus money or my bonus money that I receive in January from my job, we usually do get a clothing allowance in the month of February. Now, that is an amount that we get every year. It is paid out in February, so I'm going to throw it in the budget this year. $850. So after taxes, that's the amount that hits my account. And I've been seeing it month over month. So that's why I'm saying 850. Hopefully nothing changes. So the total amount that we're going to be working with in February is $12,356. Now let's just make this a little bit bigger. All right, so let's jump down into the fixed expenses. So our rent is $2,500. Electric is going to be 107, and that's what I'm putting in. HB ink, I'm going to budget 6 because I do a printable paper planner that I carry around with me, and I do have to print the pages. Our plan for the HB ink is it's actually under $2, but I have printed more pages that's allowable in that plan. And I'm not sure if I'm going to up the plan or I'm going to leave it as is. But for right now, we are going to budget $6. For Peloton, I'm bringing this back in the month of February. I did have an appointment with my cardiologist, and he recommends that I start to exercise again. I haven't exercised in months. So we're going to start up again on the Peloton. We're going to start slow. But I need the subscription because I have paused the subscription for the month of December and January. So we need to get back on it. Google Cloud is $3, rounded number. Car insurance is $238. Renter's insurance, this is going to be our off month in the month of February. And I think the month of March will be the last payment until again in September we'll start up. Braces, so I'm going to say it. This is the last month we're going to pay on the braces for phase 1 for my son. So it's going to be 166. That's the 164 plus the $2. That's the leftover that didn't, it wasn't divvied up correctly. But anyway, iCloud storage, $10. Sirius XM, 8. Cell phone, $260. Now, something that's going to be happening with our cell phone, I'm not sure if it's for February's bill or it's going to be for March's bill. We are so close to paying off one of our devices. So hubby and I did take out cell phones against or through T-Mobile that we were paying monthly. One of the payments is about to fall off, and it's going to be about $45 per month that we will be getting a decrease of the phone bill. I'm not sure if it's for February or if it's going to be for March. So we're going to budget the full amount for February and see what happens. I'll let you guys know. Internet, 89. Child support, 526. And after school, I think we are fully paid up, so $80 for the month of February. So for fixed bills, that's $4,037 even, and that's going to leave us with $8,319. Now we're going to go into the debt section. Now for debt, since I am doing the snowball, it's not the snowball method, but I am doing a snowball. I'm going to put 225 for, nope, wrong place. Go back. I'm going to put 225 for the credit card minimum payments. So that's all of the minimum payments on the credit cards, which is Mattress Firm, Capital One number 2, my Apple Card, and my Chase card. Now, Chase card has been paid off, so I am just still considering the amount that I was paying towards that debt to pay towards the next debt that we're going to be working on, which is the Apple Card. Student loan is $40 minimum. Auto loan is $940 minimum. Personal loans, there are 2 of them for $1,690. And extra debt, I'm going to put 0 because I don't know if we will be throwing anything extra towards that in the month of February. Now that's a total of $2,895 for debt, and we're left with $5,424 to move into the savings section. Now, my goal is to try and save $500 for February. So we're going to put $250 into save up. We're going to put $150 into true expenses. And we're going to put $100 into challenges. So I want to try to do the savings challenges just to boost my confidence. I don't do cash stuffing for the savings. It's all digital. So I just have the challenges that I'm marking off how much we're saving. It's just a game for me. So that's $500 for the saving. That's going to leave $4,924. Now next is the variables. So for car fuel, it's $250. Dining out is $50. Given is $10. Groceries and consumables, we're going to do $1,000. My babies, $100. Personal, $100. And wellness, we're going to do $10. So that's $1,520 even. And we're left with $3,404. Now, what I do know, because we are getting paid on the 28th of February, and that's going to have to serve for the first paycheck in March, I'm going to roll over $3,000 right off the bat. I'm going to take that out of the budget, and that leaves us with $404, which I'm going to put into the heating oil. So I do know we're going to have to get heating oil again in the month of February because it's winter, it's cold, we are using a lot of oil, so we need to budget for it, right? So now that I have the 404 in the heating oil, the miscellaneous section total is 3,404, and that brings us down to a zero-based budget. So out of the $12,350 that we have forecast to bring in, we have given every dollar a job, and we are down to zero. Now, what I'm going to do next, I'm going to jump over into the paycheck budget, and I'm going to do the forecast just so I know what paycheck needs to pay what bill. So let's jump over and take a look. So I have minimized the actual columns. So we're just looking at the budgeted columns for the paychecks. I did go in and fill in the numbers. I just need to do one change here because I do need to take $150 for two expenses and $100 for the challenges. That's the only change that I need to make because everything here is going to total the amount that we have to move over. Okay, so you can see there's a over under or a rollover of $3,000. So let's divvy up for the paychecks. So on this spreadsheet is where I do all the paycheck breakdowns. This is where I take the numbers from the monthly budget. I go and I plug it in to each paycheck. So as you can see here listed, I only have two columns. This is for paycheck number 1 and paycheck number 2 of February. Now, what I am seeing and thinking ahead is that we are definitely only going to be working with two paychecks in the month of February. We're going to take that last paycheck of January, which we're getting on the 31st, and then we're getting paid on the 14th and the 28th of February. Now, that last paycheck that we will be receiving on the 28th, technically, I won't be doing anything in the month of February with that paycheck because that paycheck is coming on the last day. So we need to make things work with just two paychecks in February, not including February's last paycheck. I hope that you're following. So our budget pay period is going to go from February 1st to February 13th. That's for the first pay period. And the second pay period is going to go from February 14th to February 28th, just to take care of February on a whole. And then, like I said, that last paycheck of February is going to go from March 1st until March 13th because the next pay period after that is going to be on March 14th. So now let's jump in and put in the money as we know how it's coming in based on the dates. So that January paycheck that we're going to get, like I said, the rollover I'm going to think about dealing with or using to cover bills is $3,377. And then the main income. So technically, we won't be getting any main income for this first pay period because we're already getting that paycheck on January 31st. But the only main income that's coming around this pay period is the SSI benefits for $1,375. So that's what I'm going to put in here. Miscellaneous, I'm not quite sure if that clothing allowance is going to come within the first pay period or it's going to come within the second pay period. I'm going to play it safe and put it at the second pay period. So I'm just going to move over here and put this $850 here. And then for our main paychecks, which we are going to be getting in the second pay period on February 14th, is also going to be $3,377. That's going to be my paycheck and hubby's paycheck. We're not thinking about rolling over anything from the first pay period into the second. We don't expect any miscellaneous money coming in, and transfers will have to deal with that as we see fit because there is some money that I did set aside from our bonus money in savings. So if need be, and I will have to pull some money out of savings, we're going to have to jump into our savings and sinking funds. So, all right. And that's going to be for both pay periods. So the total income we're going to work with for the first 2 weeks, so the first pay period of February, is $4,752. And for the second pay period is $4,227. So let's see how we can divvy out this money. So for the first pay period, we have to pay rent for $2,500, or electric for $107, HP Inc. for $6, Peloton for $44, Google for $3, car insurance for $238. And renter's insurance, because this is our off month, we're going to put 0. So those are all the bills that needs to be paid within the first pay period from that paycheck. None of these bills will be paid in the second pay period because, like I said, that last paycheck of February is going to take care of the first 2 weeks of March. But the second pay period that we're going to, or second paycheck that we're going to receive on February 14th needs to take care of the braces for $166, iCloud storage for $10, SiriusXM for $8, the cell phone for $260, internet for $89, and then after school, these two bills. So let's just fill these in with zeros because we're not going to do anything in the first pay period for each of those bills. But for after school, I want to split it. So $40 in the first pay period, $40 in the second, for the total of $80 for the month. And for child support, I'm going to do $263 for the first and another $263 for the second, for a total of $526 for the month. So our total fixed bills for each pay period, the first one is $3,201, and for the second pay period is $836. Now let's move on into the debt section. So I do have the credit card minimums, and I do have all of the credit cards. They are due at the last half of the month. So we do have the $225 that's due at the last half. We're going to just sit that there. The reason why I'm only sitting this there, I'm going to come back to it because my Chase card closed the first of the month, my Capital One number 2 card closed at the first of the month, and also my Apple card closes at the first of the month. I may have to pay some interest on those credit cards, and usually because I do budget in YNAB have you cover your credit card interest. So I may technically pay this $225 sometime within the first pay period. I know that Mattress Firm is due on the 14th, so it will be coming out of the second pay period. So you know what I'm going to do? Let's do $225 here, minus the payment for Mattress Firm, which is $67, and let's see what we're left with, $158. So if I pay $158 out of all of the credit card minimums in the first pay period, then I'll pay the $67 for Mattress Firm in the second, and that's the total of $225. All right, so student loan is due within the first pay period for $40 and nothing in the second. The auto loan, it is due on the 25th of the month, and I don't see it where I can fit the auto loan in the first pay period. So let's put the auto loan in the second, the full amount in the second and nothing in the first. Now the next thing, personal loans, I try to pay those 2 personal loans as soon as I have the money available. The one that's losing the most interest is my upgrade personal loan, and I like to get that out as soon as I can. So I'm going to put the $630 here, and that's going to leave the Lending Club personal loan to be paid in the second pay period because this one is due on the 30th, and as you know, the minimum payment is much higher for $1,060. So let's put that there. We're not going to put anything towards extra debt for now. So let's not worry about that. Let's move down into savings. So I can tell you that the totals for debt, first pay period is $824, but the second pay period is very heavy for $2,067. So now let's move into the savings and save up. I think we are going to push all of this to the end of the month. So I know that for my Credit Karma automatic savings, that comes out, there's 2 withdrawals that come out in the first part of the month. So I'm going to put $60 out of that money there. And then that's going to leave me $190 to put in the second pay period. And that will total $250. Now, true expenses, I'm going to leave that till the second pay period for $150. And also for the savings challenge, I'm going to leave that for also the second pay period because I don't think we will be able to do anything else. So that's $60 within the first pay period for savings and $440 in the second pay period for savings. Now into variable spending, car fuel, I have budgeted $250. So let's see if we can put 125 in the first and 125 in the second. And I think for the variables, we're going to just split them down the middle between pay periods. So that's 25 for the second pay period and 25 when it comes to dining. Given is $5 per pay period. Groceries and consumables, I'm going to put $500 for each pay period. My babies, let's do $50 each. Personal is also $50 each pay period. And wellness, I'm going to put $5 each pay period. Now that's $750 for each pay period when it comes down to the variable expenses. Now, as you can see, now I am in the red when it comes down to income because I have assigned all of the money that I had available in paycheck number one. So somehow we're going to have to move some things around just to make ourselves get out of the negative because I don't think I want to be sending any money over from our savings in the first pay period. I'm not sure, but we'll see. So now let's look at the second pay period. And the only other category we have to deal with is the miscellaneous, where we need to come up with $440. But what I'm seeing here is that we don't have $440 left. We do not. And the reason is because remember that I do want to use $3,000 as a rollover from February into March because of that last pay period. Technically, we could hold off on the cell phone and the internet because those two total to $349. So technically, we could hold off on those and pay them out of the second paycheck, but I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that at all. Let's just go down and budget the $404 here for the heating oil because I know we're going to have to do that early February. And the next thing that I want to do is go ahead and zero these out. I am not going to put anything for the second pay period for any of the miscellaneous categories. So now I need to move some things around. This $124 that we have here, what I'm going to do is go ahead and take out this $5 for giving here, make that zero. Let's take out $100 out of groceries in the second pay period. I think we're going backwards. Yep, we're going backwards. Let's undo. We actually need to move money from the first pay period. So let's make it $400 for groceries and consumables in the first pay period. And we're going to put it to $600 for the second. So now you can see that we're left with $24 here for an available amount in the second pay period. Let's put wellness at $10 in the second pay period. So nothing in the first. We're going to put $10 here. Okay, so now this leaves us with $19 to figure out. We're going to take out the giving. Let's put 0 in the first and put $10 in the second. For my babies, let's do $30 for my babies here in the first and do $70 in the second. Okay, so that puts us over by $6. We don't need to do that. Let's do 64. That means we will still need to do 36 here. And that's going to total $100. Yes. So right now we are in the negative for $377 in the first pay period. And we are rounded out down to 0 in the second pay period. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to take this $377 out of our savings and sinking funds. This is money that I have set aside to take care of any kind of bill that comes up that we're not able to cover. You know, it's mainly too for heating oil because heating oil it's wintertime and I talk about it all the time. So I have set some money aside out of the bonus money to take care of certain circumstance as in this one. So let's go ahead and put the 377. We're going to put this 377 as a transfer. So what we're going to be working with in the first pay period is $5,129, and income in paycheck number 2 is not going to change. That's just $4,227. Now, hopefully, we'll be able to bring in a little bit more income than what's listed here. Hopefully, I can get some additional money from hubby, or that the second part of our bonus money will come in to help us so we don't have to pull money out of savings to help us with the bills. But for right now, this is what we can do. And thankfully, we do have some money set aside. So as you can see, now the rollover is going to be the $3,377 because we didn't touch that paycheck. So we are over on what we were planning to leave as a rollover. But we're not going to talk about it here. We're just going to leave it. And when I first sat down and did this, I kind of calculated everything. Then down to the last part, I did have the $3,000 left. And I'm like, but that's not going to work because the $3,000 that we're going to get to roll over, we won't get that paycheck until the last day of the month. So technically, we can't even fold it into these two pay periods because that's going to put us off and it's not going to be realistic because the only bills that's due at the end of the month, technically, is our cell phone and our internet. And then lending club, that other bill is due at the end of the month. But we don't want to wait. If we can fit these bills into the first two pay periods, that's what we're going to do because we're just trying to make smarter moves and more intentional moves with our money. So, as a tip, what you should do is sit down, map out your calendar. I have done that off camera on paper. I have mapped out what bills are due within each pay period so I know where I need to set money aside. You have to do that because if not, you guys, you're going in blind. And I have gone in blind way too many times. And then when it comes around to paying the bills, I'm always scrambling, trying to figure out where I'm going to get that money from. So when it comes down to your budget, write it out. First, start with your calendar view. Map out all your bills by due date on your calendar so you know if you are paycheck to paycheck like we are right now, you will know what bill you need to pay within what pay period. So take it from me because listen, I have made plenty of mistakes that, I got the paycheck and I didn't have a plan. And before you know it, some bills couldn't be paid. And there I go pulling out the credit card. So this is it, you guys. This is our February's monthly budget. I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, don't forget to give me a thumbs up. If you have not subscribed to the channel yet, please go ahead and subscribe. I would love for you to follow along with our journey and just to see us get out of debt because that is our ultimate goal, is to be debt free and to become financially independent. So thank you guys for watching, and until next time, I'll talk to you guys later. Bye now.